When we talk about creative leadership, we start first with the definition of what leadership is. So we first need to set what is the ultimate goal that we want to reach in order to have a clear understanding to the today's workshop. First thing, we will highlight the three main points that we will cover. Then we will go through the building blocks of what we call creative leadership, and then we'll talk about the team stages. Let's first talk about the successful leader. In today's business world, what we are defining as a successful leader is someone who can inspire his team, make his team creative in problem solving, take the necessary risk or the smart risk, when we call, or how we call it, the smart risk, to improve the bottom line. This is what we call a successful leader. And when you look at the definition, big part is influencing others. And this is a very tough job. So the leader does not really work on forcing someone to achieve a particular task. You have to influence people to want to work for you, to be creative, to get out of the box, to do the extra mile. And this is what makes it tough. When we talk about creative leadership, and we just defined that the leadership is influencing others, so let's talk about the stakeholders. First one is influence. Who's influencing? It's you, the leader. So first come first. Self-awareness of a leader is essential for success. And let me put it this way, it's not only for leader. For any human being to be successful, it requires a certain amount of self-awareness. Self-awareness starts from what motivates me, what hurts me, what is my biases, and for a leader, I would go further to what is my score for leadership or on leadership. From scale to 10, am I a true leader? Am I a role model? Do my team members trust me? This is how I should start, to know exactly where I stand, honestly and fairly. During today, we will cover the self-awareness piece. We'll tell you exactly what to do to start to scale yourself, put exactly where you stand, know your type of personality, and then you can move further. Then we will talk about the second stakeholder, which is the team. You want to be a strong leader, you need to build a strong team. If you have the luxury in selecting your team members, please select for attitude and assign tasks based on skills. And this is what we will discuss. Because a lot of unsuccessful stories comes from assigning the wrong task to the wrong skill set. You need to match both. And this is how you develop or have a good performance. When I talk about team, you need to have a cohesive team. This is what makes a leader or stands against them. It's a push and pull. If you have a team that don't work in the same direction of your footsteps, that will be very challenging. We will cover these two stakeholders, and once we talk about yourself and your team, here comes the communication. Communication is fundamental in any environment to create a positive environment. And when I talk about the fundamentals of communication, a lot of times we are very cautious when it comes to dealing probably with our bosses or with our peers. You've got to make sure that you have the level of successful and effective communication with your team as well. You have to make sure that the communication level between the team members is very strong as well. And this requires a lot of work, because communication is a very basic thing. However, it is the reason for success. You need to consider barriers, whether it's background, it's language, it's history. All this, something you need to consider when you are communicating with your team. You have to have open channels. Every channel is open for communication. You have to use communication to make your team members feel valuable. Once we are finished with the fundamental of communication, then we move to step higher, more sophisticated, which is we go to coaching and rewarding. You need to apply a very, very thorough coaching methodology and attitude to develop your team members. You need to reward people. Reward is the most effective way to having people get the best of themselves. We encourage people to always, even for small stuff and with small reward, don't miss on one opportunity that you have the chance to reward one of your team members. And again, we are encouraging this because this is the only way you create a positive environment. So rewarding is one key. Every single item we're talking, we'll discuss it in depth once the session is there. Once you use all your tools, then comes some reality. Problems do happen. So sometimes we avoid saying problems and we call it challenges. Okay, now you have to learn how to solve problems. And before you learn how to solve problems, we will discuss some basics. First of all, problems comes from mistakes. That's one of the major causes of problems. We need to promote the concept of we learn from our mistakes. Because this thing will help you in the future, will help you building a strong team. So this is one concept that you need to adopt. Other causes of problems is the stress. So a good leader does not create a stressful work environment. It's the other way around. You need people, I don't want to say relax, but they need to be at ease. If you want them to be creative, if you want to have the positive team, and if you want to be a creative leader, that's the only way. Creative leaders does not create or do not create a work environment that is stressful for the employees. One other thing which is change. Talk about change. Change comes with a resistance of the uncertainty, a kind of fear. We need to make sure that we promote change as the source of new opportunities. So this is very important, and if you manage these three, you know how to solve your problems in a very positive mental approach. Then we go to the icing on the cake, which is the exploration environment. I need my team to have the kind of mindset that they look for new opportunity, new approach, new way of doing the existing processes. They need to explore. And for this, I need to create the suitable environment. I need them to be protected, that if they try something new, they don't fear any consequences if things didn't go really positive. I need to remove boundaries. So if I'm working for sales, I have all the luxury to think for something for the customer service. Before we end this session, we'll talk about the 4 stages of a team. There is the forming stage, which is you are just starting. Everything should be rewarded. Everything is great. As if you're having your baby starting to crawl. You cannot tell him, what are you doing? Are you crawling? Man has to walk. No, you don't say this. Then you reach the storming, which if you found your baby, your son, 4 or 5 years and he's still crawling, you tell him, no, this is what we don't do in this kind of stage, and you shake him. Maybe he will be questioning, but you were happy when I was crawling. It was a celebration day. We celebrated that I started crawling. Yes, but this is a different stage. Then your son will react positively. And this is what we call the personal growth. He will start walking, and that's a wow, personal growth of your team. And then you reach the performing, when your guy, your man will be going for marathon. So these are the 4 stages. 4 stages in forming a team, in a new product, in a new distribution channel. This is how you look at it. This is the final, this is the end of this session. And I promise you, by the end of this day, you go back home knowing exactly what creative leadership is and how you apply the techniques and the skills to be a creative leadership. Thank you very much. I see you after the break.